Hi guys, my name is Sam Ramakrishnan, and today I'm going to share with you how VR is useful in the field of social psych research. Research in social psychology often requires high experimental control over social interactions. In these studies, trained actors who behave in a predetermined manner are often used to simulate a social situation for the participant. For example, if you were interested in how race and gender of a person influence the empathy that people feel for them, you would require four different actors in order to cover all possible combination of race and gender. It is hard to assemble such a team. But even if we manage to do so, people are pretty diverse and may vary in other features as well. So we need to match the actors on features like attractiveness, height, speech, and other things that could affect a social interaction because we want to make sure that the empathy felt by the participant is only affected by the race and or gender of the actors. We don't want the participants to show more empathy towards an actor who is, say, more attractive or whose speech style they prefer. Thus, matching actors on all these different features is not a very feasible thing in a real life study. However, if we were to do the study in VR, it is way easier to create four virtual characters who are identical in all aspects except for the two that we want to study, race and gender. So we see that VR offers a higher degree of control in our experiments, allowing us to attribute causation with more confidence. Another way in which VR could be of use to the field of social psychology is by enhancing the ability to replicate social psych experiments. What is replicability? Replicating means being able to get the same result when performing the same experiment. One of the criticisms on social psych as a science has been that some prominent theories that have been shown repeatedly in studies conducted by some research labs haven't replicated when performed in other labs. One possible explanation for the lack of replication could be that because different labs use different actors, which in turn is affecting the results. Another explanation, which is often given, is the difference in protocol or environment in different labs, which again contributes towards a different result. Thus, VR studies could be a solution to this problem. Programming a VR experiment forces researchers to exactly define the experimental situation and the actor avatars in programming code. With this, it is now possible to share these projects and allow other researchers to precisely replicate the experiment. VR, therefore, contributes positively to address this criticism of replicability. VR may also help increase the ecological validity of studies. Ecological validity is how much the results from our study conducted in a controlled lab setting is applicable or valid in real-life situations. In lab-conducted studies, for simplicity and control, social interactions are often reduced to simple cognitive trials with one stimulus and a small number of possible responses. For example, if we want to study how participants perceive facial expressions, participants may be asked to judge emotion from pictures of faces. Such studies have provided valuable theoretical insight, but they still have low ecological validity. It is not clear how performance in such a study relates to behavior in real-world situations with more complex stimuli and a wider range of response options. In the real world, to perceive emotion, we see more than just a mere photo, and we don't indicate our perception just choosing from a possible set of options. Instead, we organically respond through our own expression, body language, and maybe verbal communication. Using VR allows the participant to experience an interactive and realistic social situation, giving them more freedom to respond to it in an ecological fashion, measured implicitly with motion capture data. Such data may be more valid in real-life situations, thus increasing the ecological validity of the experiments. Finally, researchers may turn to VR to create situations that cannot safely and feasibly exist in a laboratory setting. For example, to test prosocial behavior under pressure, some researchers created a VR scenario in which the participants escape from a fire and have the opportunity to help another person. Thus, we see that VR can help us study dangerous or infeasible situation without putting the participant in any real danger. Next is challenges in using VR for psych research. Most of these are issues we discussed in class and are similar to those faced by VR tech in general. Anything which reduces presence can affect research adversely. Likewise, cost and familiarity with using VR are an issue today. But as these get better, VR should find more application in psych research. Another thing to keep in mind is the psychological well-being of the participants. There are already ethical checks and regulations in place for research in psych. But even so, till there is more research on the long-term psychological impact of VR experiences, researchers should probably play it safe in the type of scenarios that they put their participants in. In conclusion, the development of VR is really exciting for the field of social psych and should help solve many of the problems that it faces in research design today.